Now let's go behind the rock screen.
You're welcome to come on in. We'll bring out the moonshine and start telling lies and calling up the women. But no talk about racing. Come on.
Hey, everybody. This is Josh with the Dirt Court Jesters podcast, joined by the driver of the number 9 midget from Tipp City, Ohio, Bryan Klein. Bryan, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me, Josh.
Hey, a lot of people are familiar with the 09 non-wing outlaw that you literally ran on the wall in 3 and 4 at the Tulsa Expo Center during the Tulsa Shootout in the non-wing outlaw race number 123. I gotta ask, run me through that. What's going on? Because it doesn't look like you lift. You ran up on the wall and you drove out it. You just kept going. How did that happen?
Well, I would love to claim it was all skill, but no, there was some luck involved in that and a little bit of skill. So anybody that was following us on social media knows that I was complaining about the motor all week. We were having some motor issues. Nothing too major. It was just trying to get it nailed down. But when it came to that heat race, we were underpowered, and it just kind of all of a sudden came to life going down the backstretch there. And when it came to life, that was the first lap that I had turned at full power the entire time we had been there that week. And other than going in and just cleaning everybody out that's trying to get down to the bottom, I'm like, well, I guess we're just going to rip the lip and send it up to the top. And the line wasn't there. It hadn't been put in yet. The car pushed, shoved the nose real hard, and we ended up in, you live and die by the cushion, and we ended up on it, over it, and I think in one of the photos we actually had 4 tires out of the dirt. Left sides were on the white part of the wall, right sides were completely in the fence. I thought for sure we were going for a ride, and my first instinct was, like they say, when in doubt, throttle out, and I just kept it pinned on the floor, and I may have closed my eyes, I don't know, but next thing I know is I'm rolling down the front stretch, and everything's good. I gave the wheel a couple tugs to make sure we didn't have anything bent or broken, and back to racing we went. So it was quite a ride. The video footage from Flo looks pretty dramatic with a bunch of sparks. I have my onboard GoPro footage of it, which I'll upload to social media coming up. It's not as dramatic in the GoPro video, but I do remember seeing a bunch of sparks inside the race car, and next thing I know, it's set back down on all fours, and we're going at it again. So next thing I know, there's a caution out, and I thought it was for somebody else. Which I do believe there ended up with a car up against the wall or something. Somebody had a mechanical issue, but then they started running us through the middle of the track, and I look over towards 3 and 4, and they've got a bunch of safety crews over there. It looks like they're piecing the chain link fence back together.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, that was kind of a wild ride. I was like, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Like, I didn't realize how high up the fence we went. I thought maybe I'd thrown the right sides on the wall and a Nerf bar dragged on the concrete or something like that, which it did. It was just the left side Nerf bar, not the right side. And I didn't think it was that huge of a deal. And circling, running through the middle of the track under caution, and we're going through 1 and 2, and I happened to glance up at the Jumbotron in the corner in turn 2 there, and Flow Racing is just zoomed in on my car. And they're either savagely making fun of me for that ride, or it looked a lot cooler than it felt, and they're talking about it in a big way. So after getting off the track, my crew came running over, and everybody's just laughing and high fives. How the hell did you do that? What was that all about? I'm like, yeah, I mean, I thought I'd roll the top end for Larson, but I guess we'll just dub it the Klein line, and unless you got four on the chain link, then I had to do something better than Larson. Yeah. that dude's an animal behind the wheel, and I figured we'd give him a run for his money and see how high he could go. So
Yeah.
he didn't seem to, him or Christopher Bell didn't seem to try it out this year. So
No. I think you hold that prestige for this year.
yeah,
So
I guess it's an infamous ride, if anything. But we made the thumbnail on Flo's Thrills and Spills for I think that was Tuesday or Wednesday, but yeah, we had fun with it.
yeah. So a few things. Number one, I don't know. I've never driven, but my guess is if you don't keep your foot on the gas, you're tumbling.
Yeah, that's what they tell me. And I've been in and out of a race car since I was 9 years old, and you stand on it until you see God or the checkers. And we ended up able to drive out of that one, but especially in an open wheel car, midgets, the micro sprints, like as soon as you get out of the throttle, it completely upsets everything in the car. The chassis is set up to be loaded up on that right rear on the rear tires, and I feel like if we'd have breathed the throttle in that situation, maybe the chain link grabs something on the front of the chassis, and we take that could have been a really hard hit, just a stop of something hooking into the chain link. But pretty entertaining to look at the still shots, and you realize the right rear just has a glaze over it. There's no dirt on the right rear tire. It completely cleaned it off from just doing a burnout across the fence. So it was a ride. I cannot say that I've ever experienced anything like that in my many years of driving any kind of race car. Like that's probably the top of the mark, and I don't hope to surpass that mark. Like, that's as close as I've been to crashing without crashing in a big way.
Yeah. I know you said you may have closed your eyes, but I gotta wonder, out of your peripheral vision, you should have seen the ground at some point.
Yeah, I think probably on either as it was coming up. So when I got in there and the car got tight and just didn't turn, it didn't rotate, didn't do what I was expecting the car to do. And like I said, we were still battling somewhat. The motor was just clearing itself up, so we still may have been down on power a little bit. And I was expecting the car to get in there and rotate, and it may have hiccuped, and we ended up straight, But yeah, I remember staring out the right side of the car, like looking out of my peripherals, and you're like, as you do when you run the top, you're looking out the right side, you're trying to back the right rear up to that cushion, and it just came a lot faster than I've ever seen the wall and the cushion come up to us. And then the front end, the attitude of the car is all wrong, and it was a thing. It was like,
you're either able to see the ceiling of the expo center or the track.
Sure I took a glance at the lights in the ceiling, and then at the track, and then saw nothing but chain link out in front of us, and it was a man. To have an actual like point of view camera inside my helmet, I'm sure would have been just a wild ride, because I'd love to see it. All I had mental snapshots of going through there and seeing all of it play out in real life, and our GoPro footage it's less dramatic in the GoPro than it is like even watching on the TV coverage. So it just looks like the car goes up and gets upset, and you kind of ride at a 90 for a second, and then it slams back downward. It felt like I was up on that fence forever. I was just waiting for the sudden stop and the sound of metal shrinking.
Yeah. But I wonder, because that happened so quick. I mean, did you have time to think about any of that? I mean, was there any thought that's going through your mind? Obviously, you kept your foot on the gas, but were you able to think about anything at that point?
I had no idea. It happened that fast. You're up on the fence and riding it, and then next thing I know, the car's set back down and it's still going forward, and my brain's not rattled from going for a wild flip or anything like that. And because I think even in the TV coverage, you can see I kind of bounced the right rear off the front stretch wall, because I was still kind of like in shock and disbelief that I stuck the landing. And still trying to gather the car up, and I'm like, is this thing really still got four tires on it? And, get a little tug on the wheel to make sure nothing's, before we send it back down into turn one again. But it was quite a ride.
I can only imagine. So it sounds like you had an awesome week there. You ran the non-wing outlaw and the stock non-wing. Run me through that week. What was it like? You get there, like, what this experience? What are you thinking when you arrive there? Like, how are you trying to take it in, but also be prepared for racing? Just run us through that week.
Man, to say that it was overwhelming, or to just be kind of stuck in the moment, and I literally just tried to take it in. Turning on the 21st Avenue and seeing that building and seeing the driller standing out front of that building, like it's surreal. And then it starts to set in of, hey, we're not coming here to watch a race. I'm coming here to put it on the track and go do battle with, the best in the business.
Mm-hmm.
And not just in micros, but the guys like the big names that come down and race in the shootout. It's pretty wild. I got to live out one of my childhood dreams. I thought at the age of 9 years old that I was going to be a professional race car driver. Life had other plans for me.
Sure.
But being able to go out and experience that, of like myself and my crew, we got to live the life of full-time race car drivers and crew guys for a week.
Yep.
We go to the hotel, go to bed, get up at the crack of dawn, go in, get the cars fired up, wrench on the race cars, make final touches, be at the track all day long, do our thing, run our cars, and then come back, clean them up, get them ready for the next day, go back to the hotel, grab some dinner, and go back to the hotel. Like, it's an exhausting lifestyle. To just be able to do it for a week, like I said, I was living a dream. I haven't done something like that, even with racing in the past, where we just traveled and raced for a week. Yeah. Like, it was, then you look at, kind of looking back on it, it's like, these guys aren't even running in one location for a week. Like, it's run at Kokomo one night and then pack it up, get the car cleaned up, turn it around, and then drive to, Moeller or Fremont or something, or, on down the road. They got to go across the country. Like, hey, we're heading out for the West Coast swing or something like that. Like,
right.
It's incredible. And it really does make you think about, what the dedication and of the drivers and the crews, the guys that get to do it and for the big time. And I'm sure it would wear on you. And after doing our experience of being there, of course you're around, Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch and, all these other, Ricky Thornton and the big names that are, running cars right now. And you just, it's a eye-opening experience of, of course you want to go over and talk to those guys and just BS with them or get something signed or get a photo with them. And it's like, I think I'm going to leave them alone. Yeah. Like, these guys came and raced here. They're racing down and coming to hang out with, guys like you and me. And they just want to show up. They're just racing for the fun of it. Like, let them enjoy it.
Right.
So there's a time and a place, like Ricky Thornton's a friend of my family, and, he'll still, BS with you for a minute or two. But then, that dude's wrenching his own race cars. I mean, he's got a crew, but he's literally doing it for the fun of it. He owns his own micros, and he's just there to have a good time. So it's a break for him. But he'll still stop and talk to whoever comes across him, and make time for his fans and family and friends. So it was the week was wild. I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't get a little choked up sitting on that ramp the first time before I rolled out on the track. Like, that is like I said, I got to live out my dream. I sat in the same spot that some of the best to ever do it, sat on that waiting to roll down and hop on that track and go drive a race car. And so it was kind of teared up a little bit the first time sitting on that ramp, and I'm like, this is it, man.
Yeah.
Like, don't go out here and make a scene.
Don't go driving up on the wall, putting a hole in the fence.
Don't try to pitch it into the grandstands and 3 and 4. So, but it was a wild experience, and I'll never forget it. And
it's awesome though. I was thinking, and you touched on it, like early mornings, late nights, multiple days in a row. And you talked about, these guys that do this for a living, they're traveling on top of it from one track to the other. And it's got to be exhausting. But the fact that you were in your mind enough that you could take in what you were doing and what you were experiencing, I feel like that's important, because I think that can get overlooked in a lot of things in life. And you knew that it's something that you dreamed you'd always wanted to do, and that you were able to sit there and take it in and understand what kind of experience it was that you were about to have.
Yeah, I definitely got to enjoy it, and I'm glad I didn't get too far ahead of myself of being too involved or focused on the task at hand, which, our task was to go out and give them hell.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go race our stuff and see how we stack up against the best in the country. But it was also, like you said, I was able to enjoy it and take it all in. And one thing that I'm very proud of is I probably have 10 or 12 photos on my phone from my experience there. And I think a lot of people get caught up in the moment of, wanting to record stuff and get a picture of it. Like, no, man, just put it right here. Like, that whole week, I'm going to keep, and I got to do it with my family.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was a special week for us, for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, you talked about family, you talked about racing, you kind of touched on it, but how did you get into racing? How did you start in racing? What was it that gave you that drive?
Oh, man. When I say I was born into it, I was literally born into it. My great-grandfather and my great-grandmother were race car drivers. They raced at Killcare, Dayton Speedway when it was open, Shady Bowl, Lawrenceburg. My great-grandmother, they never let her race with the men. She'd always have to run the Powder Puff series when they were racing back in the day. And then, as my grandmother tells the story, they actually let my great-grandmother race with the men one night, and she kicked their ass, and they wouldn't let her with the men anymore.
Well, I can believe that, but that's hilarious that she went out there and wiped it down.
So to have, I guess you would call it a pedigree in it. I mean, my great uncles all wheeled race cars. My uncles, cousins. My grandfather worked on a NASCAR team in the 80s. So you're just surrounded by it. And my grandfather bought me my first race car when I was 9 years old. I remember driving from the Dayton area over to, I can't remember. We were somewhere like London, over near Columbus,
Okay.
Ohio. And he bought this old, and it was an old quarter midget. Stuff that they don't even, that was outdated, decades outdated. The quarter midgets at the time were running coilovers on all four corners, and down tube cars, and mine was not a down tube car. It had 4-corner torsion bars, and we just went out there and started kicking ass. And I wish I had $1 for every time that our motor got cleaned, or our car got tore down and given back in a basket because they just couldn't figure it out. And we had a lot of fun, racing quarter midgets, and that was something that I was able to do with my dad, my grandfather, my uncle, my cousins, and it's always just been a whole family thing. And of course, you get older, and the dream kind of dies off, where you're either waiting for somebody to notice you and pick you up for their ride, or you come from a family that's just, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but a family that's very financially well off, and they can support moving you through to the next level. You hear stories all the time of people, drivers, dads and moms selling their house and just selling the farm basically to pursue that. And there's only a handful of guys that works out for. Yeah. And there's a lot of other people that kind of get left in the dust. When it comes to doing that, but it's a great story, for guys to be able to tell. But it was kind of time for me to grow up and move on with real life, and I ended up in the military for several years, and that's not real conducive to trying to wrench on a race car and until you get settled. I mean, I ended up back in Tucson and got back into racing. Bought a dwarf car to just mess around with, and then ran a mod light for a while. And so yeah, I've been in a micro before. Ran a midget race last year out in Phoenix, Arizona. So yeah, it's been a ride. A lot of my experience came from asphalt early on until about 2013, 2014 was when I got into the dirt, and man, way more fun. Way more fun. Of course, my family had sprint cars and midgets as I was growing up, and I never really took an interest to it a whole lot then. I mean, I'd watch World of Outlaws growing up, but then you watch, I don't know if you remember, like TNN Thursday Night Thunder.
Oh yeah.
Midgets race over at IRP.
Oh yeah.
Legend cars, and but yeah, I grew up watching all that, and I was always just surrounded by racing, and then developed an unhealthy passion for it, which continues to whack my bank account on a weekly basis of just trying. But man, it's fun. It'd have been cheaper to probably get into a drug habit or something, but here we are.
Well, I'm glad you chose racing.
Yeah. Works out a little bit better.
So you moved from pavement, and I know a lot of times quarter midgets, I mean, they run dirt, but for the most part, they run pavement. And then you talk about the dwarf car, which, I mean, I've only known those to run pavement. So was it the mod light where you first got into dirt, or when did you first get into dirt?
Actually, the dwarf car was my introduction to dirt. So I was running that out in Arizona, and they only run dirt out there.
Okay.
Which was also an interesting, you'll learn how to wheel something in a dwarf car, because we didn't even run actual like Hoosier racing tires. We were still running street radials on those things, and running them on some pretty big tracks. We were at Central Arizona Raceway.
Oh,
and that's a big track for a dwarf car.
Yeah.
That was my introduction to dirt, and that's where I learned how to really like, hey, you gotta hustle this thing. Like, you don't, and I'm not taking anything away from guys that run pavement. There's a finesse to it.
Sure.
There's certain driver skills that shine through in racing asphalt. You'll see guys go from dirt to asphalt, and they don't do that well. You'll see guys go from asphalt to dirt, and they don't do that well. And then you have freaks of nature, your Kyle Larson, your Christopher Bell, where they just get in something and wheel it. They're faster. Yeah. They're faster every time they sit in the car, and they're competitive right off the bat. So, it's wild. any seat time is good seat time. I would, if somebody told me I could hop in a go-kart tomorrow, asphalt or dirt, I'd do it. I just love doing it.
Awesome. So it makes me think of a question. You've got some time behind the wheel. Do you have a track so far, and it may be what prompted this interview, but is there a track to you that's like, I love that track. If I get a chance to go back to that track and race, I want to go back to that track. Is there any one of those that stands out to you? I think Tulsa's kind of an obvious answer. So outside of that,
yeah, that would be the obvious is the Expo Center, because I mean it's wild, it's fast, it's smooth. I didn't expect it to be that fast. I didn't expect to have to hustle the car the way, to carry that much corner entry speed and all that. But as far as a track that I have raced, that I would love to go back to, would definitely be like Central Arizona, where they're holding the Wild West Shootout like that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been there since they put a wall up around it. You used to just risk your life up on the berm and wait to come out the other side of that thing. Probably takes a little bit of fun out of it. Probably because you're just going to tear stuff up. It's a little different. That's where you learn how to run the top at a place that doesn't have a wall. And then you also learn that the top will bite you and hurt you bad when you do go to a place that does have a wall and you try to run the same line.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to go back there. Also Canyon Speedway and in the Phoenix area, like that was a cool track. Which I don't believe that it's open anymore, but I could be wrong on that. As far as tracks that I have not run that I want to check off the bucket list, the Mac Daddy of them all, Eldora. I'm really hoping to get my midget together in time for the May 2nd race at Eldora this year. Like that's the ultimate bucket list. Just right next to the Expo Center. Like you have to go run Eldora.
I can't disagree with you there. So that's going to bring me to another question. Is I've asked you, what track do you want to go back and race at? You talked about Central Arizona, Tulsa, going back there and obviously trying to get to Eldora. But is there a track that you must absolutely race fan at? One, if you had to pick all the tracks that you've been to, whether it's a driver or fan or there with your family, whatever the case may be, is there a track that you absolutely love race fanning at?
As far as being a fan, Eldora puts on the best show I've ever seen. I've been going there since I was a kid, and then with Tony taking it over and kind of like absolutely modernizing a dirt track, it's incredible. One that I would also like to go to that I haven't been to as a fan or a driver would be the dirt track over there inside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But I like little bull rings. That's fun. I like to hustle the car. So I'd like to go check that place out. So maybe during Indiana Midget Week we'll run over there and try to mix it up with the big boys in the National Series.
There you go. So you kind of touched on it, and I was going to ask you what 2026 looks like for you. I know when you went out to Arizona, you came back, and a couple weeks later, you had a chassis in your garage. And it wasn't long after that, you were picking up a car that somebody had sold just so you could rip the motor out of it. So
yeah,
what does 2026 look like for Bryan Klein Racing?
2026 is going to be a limited schedule with the Midwest Thunder Series, the D2 midgets. We're going to try to run the spring and early summer races and run the fall stuff, and see where we go from there. And
very nice.
The plan is to run the front half of the season, maybe a couple races sprinkled in the middle of the summer, and then run the fall races as well.
Okay.
So if we're gonna need some help with sponsors and stuff on that. But we have some stuff lined up. Got some good people that are expressing interest in helping us with our program, and we'll see where it goes. But we'll definitely gonna make some races this year.
Very cool. Very cool. You talk about the USAC Midwest Thunder Midget Series, and their schedule just came out. Another out of the ballpark as far as I'm concerned. The last couple of years, I've been a huge fan of the tracks they schedule. Have you had a chance to look at their schedule for 26, and what do you think about some of the tracks they're going to visit?
I did take a look at it. I contributed to their little stingy move of, hey, you guys got to like it, and we need 10 shares before we publish it. So I want to see it. But yes, I've got my eye on Waynesfield. I think that's going to be an interesting little track. Never been there. You and I have talked about it before.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's right up my alley. Little bull ring, rooting and gouging, and it's no secret. I'm going to be a lower budget team. We're going to be underpowered this year until we get some more motor stuff figured out and whatnot. So I think we'll thrive on those little tracks. That being said, I'm completely committed and ready to pop a motor at Eldora. I don't even care. If I go out there and window that thing in hot laps, I got to just give me a lap around that thing, and we'll go from there. I fully budgeted and ready with a backup motor.
I like it. I like your thinking. So you got out. You transferred out of the F main in the Tulsa Shootout. Something to build on. Obviously, going into your season, you guys got faster as you were there. Are you looking to get back to the Tulsa Shootout next year, or is the Chili Bowl on the agenda? What does that Tulsa Expo Center look like for you a year from now?
Yeah. So I've already committed to a ride for the shootout next year. My uncle Dennis Klein owns the car that I drove this year, and he's already asked me to wheel one for him again next year. I don't know if it'll be the same car. He goes back and forth. He's a madman when it comes to working on the cars. He likes to just build them, make them look pretty and fast. And I mean that with everything toward it. He's not a if it don't go chrome it kind of guy. He puts together some of the best built race cars, and he makes them look good doing it as well. But so I don't know if we're going to turn laps in the same car we ran this year. He's also made mention of wanting to build something on his own, build a brand new car for me to drive next year. I think if he builds a new car, we're going to have to get out to Phoenix and put some laps on it before heading to Tulsa with it. I don't want to show up with a brand new car with no data, anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'd have to, in the fall, fly to Phoenix and hop in a race car and get out the crappy weather. So yeah, either way, we're gonna work it out. My crew chief, Kyle Klein, that's my cousin as well. He wants us to run the Chili Bowl. He's wanting to put together a motor package, use my car, and go take a run at the Chili Bowl. I don't know if that's possible. I think it's 100% we're going to run the shootout, depending on what kind of motor package we get put together. The Chili Bowl might be a real thing. If not this coming year, then or not as in next week, but if not 27, we'll definitely have our sights set on the Chili Bowl for 28, nice. and make some moves.
Nice. And DuQuoin runs a race in December. Maybe you could head over there too. So
yeah, that would that might be the one to kind of pacify the Chili Bowl. We'll run down to DuQuoin, run the midget down there, and then hop out to Tulsa and the shootout. I think for Dirt in the Dome, they should bring D2 midgets in there. You got a bunch of guys. I mean, it's a lot of money to go run the Chili Bowl. Nobody's going to try to tell you otherwise. I think even some of the mid-range, or the lower budget guys trying to run the Chili Bowl will just tell you it's $10,000 a week with everything involved. I think, especially like around here, we've got the Midwest Thunder Series has a phenomenal car count.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure a bunch of those guys would pack up and go to Des Moines or go to St. Louis if they would, bring in D2 midgets on Thursday night at Dirt Dome. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, well, and I mean that you talk about that series again, and the drivers that they're pumping out of there that are ended up in national rides.
Yeah,
doing pretty damn good too.
Yeah, it's impressive. So that's another, like, I can't wait to go run with those guys. I've bought parts from a couple of the guys around here. A lot of them live in my neck of the woods and northern Dayton area. So I've met a few of those guys, bought some used parts and stuff from them, and everybody sounds super solid.
Mm-hmm.
and everybody seems to like the series, and it's a great group of guys to go race with.
Definitely. Well, Bryan, before we wrap it up, something I always like to do, especially with the drivers, have a little bit of fun. So we're going to do some lightning round questions. I got 10 questions for you. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. Question number 1, celebrity crush growing up.
Sandra Bullock, hands down.
Oh, okay. Now, what prompted that?
Oh,
Speed?
Man.
Demolition Man. Okay. Yeah. Good movie. Yeah. All right. Very nice. Question number 2, favorite cartoon.
Favorite cartoon, man. Probably Johnny Bravo. That is just fun.
It's a good one. All right. Number 3, some guys have answers, some guys don't. Do you have a favorite pro wrestler?
I never really followed it too much, but my little brother did, and so I know a little bit about it. So I'd have to say The Undertaker.
Oh, okay. All right. Very nice. I have not heard that one yet, so that's a good one. Do you have a favorite song or a favorite album, something that just when you need some music to hit right, that's what you're putting on?
Oh man, I kind of trust it to my Spotify DJ.
Okay. All right.
Just put it on the DJ and let it go.
What do we have a genre that you prefer more than others?
So I listen to everything. You'll find anything and everything from Lil Wayne to Jason Aldean on my playlist. So the Spotify DJ nails it. It just runs through anything and everything you listen to. But I don't have anything really in particular that'll lock it in. Nice.
Favorite movie?
Tommy Boy.
That's a good one.
I'm a comedy guy. Slapstick.
Yeah.
Kinda,
I like it.
I like it a lot.
So you got out of racing for a little bit. You're getting back into racing. So you've had time to make sure you can answer this question. Do you have a favorite vacation spot?
Yeah, I do. My wife and I spend all of our time at Lake Cumberland almost every weekend during the summer. Hence why we're going to run a limited schedule with the Midwest Thunder Series, because wife says we're not going racing full time again. As long as it's cut into boating season, she's spotted me one weekend a month through June, July, and August where we can stay home and race. Right. She's great. She's been supportive through all of my shenanigans.
Well, take it easy in 2026 and see how many more races you can fit in 27.
Yeah.
Something few people know about you.
Man.
You were in a choir in high school, or were you in a band, or?
No, I wouldn't. I did run track.
Okay.
In 8th grade. I guess that would be something that a lot of people wouldn't expect from me or really know, because it was very short-lived.
What event?
I ran the 4x4 and the long jump.
Oh.
And that was terrible. I was trying to do it to stay in shape for like baseball season, and but yeah, that was terrible. Never again. It's a lot of running.
So one car, you get home, you hit the garage door opener, and that classic car or that muscle car or a car that you're just absolutely in love with is parked in the garage. What is that car?
Street car?
Yep.
Okay. I was going to say a 410 non-wing sprint car.
Well, that can be I mean, this isn't a single car garage. We're talking.
Okay, good. But yeah, they can, right next to the 410 non-wing sprint car, we'll park 70 Boss 302.
Oh, all right. All right.
Huge Mustang fan, and that's my Great White Buffalo.
Do you have a specific color?
Oh, it got to be grabber blue.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Do you have a go-to meal?
Mexican. Chipotle, tacos, anything. I throw some meat and rice and cheese on anything. It's that's the go-to.
Nice. And last, funniest story you can share. It could be from the track. It could be from the shop. It could be while you were traveling to the track or back to the shop. What's the funniest story you got?
So this one actually just happened last week, and so my cousin Kyle and I are working on my race car. I can't remember what we were doing with it, and wrenching on it in some way. I'd probably just getting it ready for the next day. And his son comes back, and he asked for $20 so he could go buy a T-shirt. And I can't remember the guy's name that put his race car in the trash can.
Yeah, I can't either, but I know what you're talking about.
But he sold a lot of T-shirts.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw any of the T-shirts that he had made, but it said "Win it or bin it," and picture of the race car laying in the dumpster. That was incredible. But anyway, his son goes over to get a T-shirt from them, and he comes back and he's like, "Hey, Brian, check out my shirt." And he holds it up, and this thing looks like a onesie. I'm like, "Did you get that for your sister?" I keep in mind I call him my nephew. I guess he would be my second cousin. So, but keep in mind my nephew's like 6'2". He's 14 years old. 6'2", and probably weighs as much as I do. Probably right around 190, something like that. But he holds his shirt up. I'm like, "Did you buy that for your sister?" He bought a medium. And it looks like he's holding it up, and like I can see his shape outside. I can see him poking around. Just him holding the T-shirt up, and his dad is pissed. I mean, he becomes furious. He's like, "What are you doing with that shirt? Like, what size is that?" He's like, "Well, it was a medium. They didn't have any larges left." And he bought one down. I'll just stretch it out. And then, so Kyle just goes off. And it's all in good fun, but he's kind of pissed, but still like laughing about it. And he goes, "Put the shirt on. Show me how you're going to stretch out a medium. Put it on." And it makes him take his hoodie off, and he packs it into this medium T-shirt looking like a busted can of biscuits. And he's like, "Yeah, maybe it's not gonna stretch for me." I'm like, "Yeah, go see if they'll exchange it for an extra large." But he's a good kid. Not super smart sometimes, but no, he really is smart. And that was we were teammates this week. He ran the same class as I did. Luckily luckily for him, he didn't have to race against me. But no, we never got paired up and got the luxury of racing against each other. But maybe next year we'll get to bang wheels.
There you go. All right, before we wrap this up, where can everybody follow you? Do you have any merchandise and sponsors that you'd like to thank?
You can follow me on Facebook. It's just Bryan Klein. I'm on Instagram at bjklein50. Instagram I got to pay more attention to with uploading some racing stuff, and as far as sponsors, I want to thank Obsidian Solutions, Sage Consulting or Sage Research and Consulting, BK Automotive, Build the Bone, and Ferrari Dog Grooming Products. They made our Tulsa Shootout happen. They really did. They came through clutch for us. We were able to keep fresh rubber on the car all week. Able to not send the car back to Phoenix bent up for the most part. And so I also want to thank Dennis Klein and Kristen Klein for asking me to drive their car for them in the shootout, and also already tasking me to hop behind the wheel and trust me with their piece for next year.
Nice.
On top of that, my wife for supporting all of my shenanigans. This deal, I talked about it all year going to run the shootout, and it really became like a reality, just a few months ago. Like everything kind of came together, and for her to sit here at home and hold the fort down and let me go play for a week, let me go pretend to be a race car driver for a week. It was a good time.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to seeing you here locally in 2026, and obviously back at Tulsa, the shootout. It'll be a year from now, but you're going to have a lot of racing under your belt between now and then. Good luck this season. Bryan Klein, driver of the number 9 midget from Tipp City, Ohio. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, Josh.
Guys, this is Josh with the Dirt Court Jesters podcast. We hope to see you at the track.